We're back again with Armstrong, the man loved by millions, and this time he's chasing the German dream, the mighty G-Class. From a distance, it looks like just another car. Ordinary, nothing special. But the real secret? This particular G-Class is drowned, completely soaked. Get ready for one of the most beautiful and craziest mechanical rescue journeys we've seen with a Mercedes G63 2020 model. Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed to Revive and Drive. All right, let's go. It all started when an auction house in England, not Copart this time, but a company called 3M, reached out to Arm. They told him they had a G-Class that might interest him. First time dealing with them. Honestly, he'd never even heard of them before. He needed a proper beast for a Christmas road trip to Switzerland, so when they offered him a 2020 G63 with around 80,000 kilometers on the clock for $97,000, he thought, okay, not cheap, but way below 0 mile and even clean used market price. Maybe a deal. He pulled the trigger. What he didn't know yet, this G had suffered a minor front-end accident that completely destroyed the front end, crushed the oil coolers, and most likely caused leaks everywhere. Worse, for some mysterious reason, the engine refused to start at all. In the trunk, they found beautiful, brand-new interior pieces, but the pedals were covered in water and mud stains. One of his friends immediately suspected that some transmission parts might be missing, probably because of where the car had been sitting abandoned before the auction. So here we are, a car that's somehow both perfect and completely broken at the same time. They don't even try to crank the engine until they fix the oil lines. They load it onto a trailer. Luckily, it goes into neutral, and off it goes to the new G-Class hangar, the second biggest project space he's ever worked in after the Cullinan. They lift it up for the first underbody inspection. Surprisingly, we know obvious leaks from the transmission area. Good sign. But one of the oil cooler hoses is completely disconnected. They start stripping panels, removing covers, trying to see more clearly. The biggest fear? That someone had driven it hard for a long distance without oil pressure. Arm removes the drain plug, and oil actually comes out, a decent amount. That's a huge relief. The transmission probably wasn't cooked. From long experience with wrecked Mercedes and AMG engines, he knows one more critical thing. After a crash, the computer logs everything, and you must clear all crash data and codes before the car will allow itself to start again. He hooks up the diagnostic tool, gives the command, "Everything's fine now," wipes the slate clean. He checks the center locking differential and air suspension. All good. Then he looks at the oil cooler pipes again, makes a temporary bypass connection so he can at least circulate oil without cooling for a few seconds. They lower the car, fill it with the correct engine and transmission oil. Moment of truth. He presses the start button. Nothing. Dead silence. No airbag deployment, so the safety fuse is probably intact. He checks the main safety fuse under the front seats with a multimeter. 12 volts. Perfect. Still nothing. He scans again, a bunch of codes appear, but none related to crash data or airbags. So the crash log isn't the problem. He tries reconnecting the front crash sensors. Still nothing. He checks the fuse box in the engine bay. Nothing obvious. Then he remembers something important. Many German cars, including this one, require you to press the brake pedal hard before the engine will crank. He gets under the dash, bypasses the brake pedal switch temporarily. The brake lights come on, progress, but still no crank, no starter sound, nothing. Now the diagnostic tool finally shows a code, starter motor malfunction. He tries jumping power directly to the starter from underneath in a very tight space. Still nothing. At this point, the team starts to get seriously worried. Maybe the engine itself is mechanically locked? They put a big wrench on the crankshaft pulley and try to turn it by hand. It's rock solid. Won't budge. That's when the mood really drops. This car didn't look like it had suffered a catastrophic frontal impact, so why is the crank locked? No choice left, they have to pull the engine. On the G-Class, the V8 doesn't drop out from underneath, it has to be lifted up through the top, much harder. 3 guys work in almost complete silence, disconnecting everything. Prop shaft, all electrical harnesses, fuel lines, cooling system, exhaust manifolds, turbo piping, everything. They chain up the monster V8 and slowly lift it out of the engine bay. A huge, complicated engine full of systems. They remove coils. One of them is soaked in oil. They put a camera inside the cylinders. Pistons look surprisingly okay. No obvious scoring. They try turning the crank again by hand. Still extremely hard, almost impossible. Something is seriously wrong inside. At that moment, Arm decides, I can't waste more time. We have 6 days left. I'm buying a complete used engine plus transmission from eBay. He actually manages to convince the seller to include the gearbox too at a good price. New plan, drop in the complete running donor system, then fix whatever else is broken around it. They lower the whole assembly in, connect everything, replace the temporary oil cooler hoses with proper Mercedes ones, install new pressure sensors on the turbos, new air boxes, new exhaust manifolds, new intercooler pipes, heat shields, everything. They even buy a brand new transmission oil cooler. But when they try to start it again, same problem. No crank. And now a new message, no communication with engine control unit. After hours of chasing shadows, he discovers one single connector, one tiny plug, was not seated properly. He pushes it in, he presses the start button, and suddenly the engine roars to life. After all that nightmare, just one badly connected plug. Even Arm couldn't believe it. From that moment on, everything became relatively easier. They install the new painted side skirts, correct the front bumper alignment with a hydraulic press, mount new carbon fiber hood, new headlights, new side markers, new wheels, new massive carbon fiber Mansory-style body kit from the English company Urban, full exhaust system, new windshield, new battery, roof LED bar, interior deep clean, and finally a long test drive. Of course, because it's Armstrong, there was one last drama. A strange noise from the rear differential. They pull it apart, replace the entire rear differential assembly, $2,700 later, bleed the brakes, reset all modules, and at last, the blacked-out, carbon-clad, roaring G63 is finally alive, loud, beautiful, and ready for the snowy roads of Switzerland. What a journey! What a mad, beautiful, painful, rewarding journey. Thanks for staying till the end. See you in the next crazy build.